Good morning, Mr. Witness. Please sit down. Before I yield the floor to Madam Chair, may I remind you that you are still under oath. Madam Chair, over to you.
Good morning, Mr. Jallo. You are welcome back.
Good morning. Thank you.
Council, you can proceed. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you, the commissioners, and my lead counsel. Good morning, Mr. Jallo.
Yes, good morning.
It is good to have you back.
Thank you.
To the commission. So may we please proceed from where we stopped yesterday.
Okay.
This time around, I want us to discuss some issues that were marked as subject issues for discussion at your commission when you took over.
Okay.
The letter has folio number 93, and it is addressed to the permanent secretary. And if I may read the letter, it states, prior to the appointment of the current local government service commission by the Honorable Minister, a host of critical staff issues of various councils were pending, requiring actions by the previous commission. Some senior and junior staff of some councils were dismissed over given periods of varied reasons. These were challenged by the affected staff on many fronts through a series of petitions and service commission at the time. So basically this letter is basically informing you that there were pending issues that needed to be discussed, and one of the issues were the dismissal of one Pak Khalifa Sanyang, former CEO KMC.
Okay.
And number two, dismissal of Abdullah T. Nyang, former Director of Finance BCC, and Aliou Sane, former collector BAC, and Modu M.M. Saho, former collector BAC. Are you aware of this?
Yes, I'm aware of
now,
some of them.
Let us start with the dismissal of Pak Khalifa Sanyang, former CEO. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, the issue is on our table. We are discussing it, but we had issues of getting the relevant documents. The data was sent, but the documentations were not attached. So when we sat over it, we realized that the submission was not complete, and then we requested. Even Pak Khalifa's petition letter was not even attached. So we said the first thing we need to look at the petition letter so that we know the issues. You see, then we made that request and all other documentation. Then the request was letters were provided. Then we also realized that there was this audit report that was mentioned, which was not also available. So we made request of that audit report, and I think this was submitted to us either last week or week before last. We got the documents for Pak Khalifa and Nyang.
So when you said that the documents were incomplete, you were referring to it not being forwarded to you by the permanent secretary?
Yes, in total.
And this boils down to your position previously that sometimes the channel of communication do cause delay at the level of the permanent secretary.
Yes, it caused delay, and also looking at the record system at the ministry. You see, when such letters come, they have to go through the system, through the folder. It takes time, and it goes to the ministry's folder, which also makes it very difficult, and we don't have access to the ministry's records. That's why we want to have our own secretariat where our letters will be addressed, and we will have our own records, so that we will not have that problem of getting the required documentations in piecemeal.
So then the issue of Pak Khalifa is still pending?
Yes. Last week, we received the remaining documents last week for both Pak Khalifa and Nyang.
And do you know why the previous commission did not make any determination over this issue?
No. For Pak Khalifa, no. For Nyang, a decision was taken, and then he...
Yes, we'll just, let's just take it one after the other.
Oh, okay, thank you.
do you think the period of delay with respect to the previous commission is justifiable, considering that when you came over you had to be notified that these are pending issues?
Yeah, we have pending issues. I don't know the circumstances that
go ahead.
that led to them not taking action on that issue. I don't know the circumstances.
Were you, did you have any handing over from the previous commission?
There was no handing over.
And so when you took over office, there was no handing over?
There was no handing over.
Is that a normal procedure?
No.
So will I be correct to say, since there was no handing over, you cannot know whether the issue had been adequately dealt with or not?
No, but according to that correspondence, it indicates that it was not addressed.
Now, how about the dismissal of Abdullahi T. Nyang, former Director of Finance, BCC?
Yes, according to records, for Abdullahi Nyang also, we did not have all the information because for Abdullahi Nyang, it was a letter from the Ombudsman that referred his case to the Commission.
Yes.
And then we saw the letter from the Ombudsman, but the supporting documents were not available. And we made requests for the supporting documents. We got them either last week or week before last, I think. We got all the reports, including the audit report in correction.
So again, you have not...
And for Nyang, the commission dismissed him. You see, but he is querying that he was not given the opportunity to be heard.
Which of the commissions did dismiss him? Is it your time?
No, the previous one.
Do you know why he was dismissed?
There was a letter sent to him regarding his dismissal, and that letter outlined the reasons for the dismissal.
Do you recall the reasons for the dismissal?
I may not recall all of them, but it has something to do with the audit report.
Very well. We will appreciate it if you can forward us a copy of the report, of that letter.
Okay, thank you.
And how about Aliu Sane, former collector, back?
For Aliu Sane and others, we are yet to get their records.
Did you write to the permanent secretary requesting for this this documentation?
No, for them, no, not yet.
So why did you not write to the permanent secretary to request for these documentations?
Okay, we told Mr. Gomez, the secretary, to make sure that he arranged for all the pending documentations. It's Gomez that we assigned to do that, but we did not write to the permanent secretary for that.
When was this?
You see, that is their records.
When did you assign Mr. Gomez to communicate to the PS regarding these outstanding documents?
It was in one of our meetings. I can't recall exactly which meeting. We did not ask him to go to the permanent secretary for that because we felt the need that he is part of the ministry and he was the secretary. He should be in position to provide some of those documentations. I think at some point, yes, I think last week he submitted something, a report. Not all the issues, but there was a report that was submitted emanating from an inspection, if my memory can serve me. He submitted a report to the commission which was wrongly addressed but contains the issues surrounding the Basse Area Council saga.
So we will come back to that mode of communication. Yes. Lastly, the issue of Modu M.M. Saho, former collector, back. What can you tell the commission about that? It is a pending issue.
Modu Saho, I cannot recall.
But can you recall ever dealing with his case?
No.
So now, it seems your main problem as a commission is that you have not received adequate information to preside over these issues.
Yes.
and that's fair enough. Now, how did you come to the conclusion that you have not received adequate information? Did you sit over it and have a meeting over it?
Yes. During our meeting, when the issue was, when we received the communication highlighting the key areas like the one you were just read, we sat over it, but we couldn't see any document.
Yes.
So we have to request for the documentations. So because without the documentation, we may not even know what had transpired.
Absolutely true.
So that is why we requested for these things, and at times it takes a while.
Yes.
Before we get them. Even when we get them, we don't get them in bulk at once.
Yes.
You see, we have them in piecemeal.
Yes.
Which is posing a challenge.
I trust that you definitely made a request. I want to understand the mode of operation in the commission, how you communicate the decisions that have been made on a timely basis. For example, if you need to communicate to the PS or the area councils, how they are being made. Now, my question is, when the PS sent these records involving Pa Khalifa's dismissal, and they were perhaps incomplete, dismissal of Abdullah Tinyang, they were incomplete.
Yes.
Aliou Sane, former collector back, and Modu Saho, these were pending issues, were never dealt with by the previous commission. Now it has come to your notice, you have received the file, but you have determined that the records are not complete.
Yeah, but as I speak, last week we had the records that we needed.
We will get there. You have the records. Do you now have all the full records of this for individuals?
The documents we requested, we have them. Maybe when we are presiding over the case, we may come up. We are reviewing the records as at now.
Now let's start again. Do you have the full documents from the permanent secretary regarding Pa Khalifa?
Yes, now we have.
Do you have the full documentation involving Abdullah Nyang?
Yes, now we have them.
How about Aliou Sane?
Aliou Sane, I can't remember all the Birkama people, but there is a report, you see, that we now received. I can't remember the names there. Now, we received the report, though it was wrongly addressed, but the report was addressing issue of malpractices.
Yes, malpractices, yes. Financial malpractice.
Yeah, yes.
Fraudulent allegations.
Yes.
So now, this information came.
Can I? You said you needed a letter containing what? I want to record it.
No, just answer questions from the chairperson, then we will proceed with it.
Okay, thank you.
I just kindly wish to request that you provide us with that report.
The report?
The report he is talking about.
From regarding the Basse Area Council?
Yes.
Okay.
Please, thank you.
Yes.
Sorry for interrupting, and you can continue.
All right, Madam Chair. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Now, is it correct to say that you were notified of these pending issues as at the time you took office?
Not immediately, but along the way we were notified.
When were you notified?
I can't recall exactly, but I think you have the letter.
Yes, so the dates. Yes, so the permanent secretary wrote to the director of governance, who is the secretary to the commission.
Yes.
And this in 2022 in December.
In December 2022.
Yes.
Yeah, outlining the pending issues.
The pending issues.
Okay.
And since December 2022, no determination had been made with respect to these 4 pending issues.
Yes.
Yes, and so one of the main reasons are that you did not receive the full required documentation.
Yes.
And therefore you could not arrive at a just conclusion in a timely manner.
Yes. In fact, some of those reports were some we even got them from BCC.
From BCC?
BCC, yes. For them, they also have their findings, and there was a report.
Now,
and we even requested for that report.
Now,
now we have that.
When you realized that there was insufficient information being provided to you by the permanent secretary or the office of the permanent secretary. Did you write to the office of the permanent secretary to request for further documentation?
I can't recall whether we wrote or not, but we requested the secretary to make sure that we have all the supporting document. But I can't remember whether a letter was written to the permanent secretary or to the BCC.
Did you instruct,
or KMC?
Did you instruct the secretary to the commission to write to the permanent secretary?
I said I cannot remember whether he was supposed to write or whether he was supposed to make sure that we have the documentations.
What is the most appropriate way of communication? If the permanent secretary writes to you, forwarding certain documentation or correspondence, and you realize that there is insufficient information, is it more appropriate to write back formally or just to have an informal communication?
Yeah, it depends. You can write back to the permanent secretary, but if there are other avenues that we can get them, we also explore those avenues.
I am now asking what will be the most appropriate form of communication?
Both are appropriate.
So you're saying informal communications are very appropriate?
They are appropriate. They are acceptable at some point.
I disagree with you. You know why I disagree with you?
Yes.
Because you know that informal communications are not the recognized mode of communication in our government institutions. You know that.
Yeah, but not all issues that are communicated. Some issues are addressed even through meetings or discussions,
meetings
engagements.
Are formal. Meetings, they are. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, this was during a meeting.
No, let me come. Do you agree with me that when there is a meeting, there needs to be minutes for the meeting?
Yeah, of course.
And that will back up the fact that there is a meeting.
There was a meeting.
So if you have a meeting,
yes,
and there are no minutes to the meeting, can you later on back your assertion that there was indeed a meeting being held?
No, if there was no meeting, we cannot take such a decision.
That is my point. So the minutes will be the official communication. If anyone requests for the proceedings of a meeting, you will have to provide minutes. You don't come and give an oral testimony that this is what we said in the meeting. Is that not correct?
Maybe you are not getting me.
Please help me to understand
properly. What I mean that decision to request for the documents was the outcome of a meeting.
Yes. Now, can you provide us with the minutes of a meeting?
Yes.
That highlighted that these issues.
Yes.
That there were insufficient information, and so you were requesting for, you have authorized or tasked the secretary to request this information from the permanent secretary?
Yes, we can.
And did you make a follow-up to see whether, in fact, the secretary wrote to the permanent secretary requesting for this further information?
Okay, we'll find out.
Did you, when you had the meeting?
Yes.
Did you make a follow-up to see whether, in fact, a letter was written to the permanent secretary to requesting for further information?
No, I did not make the follow-up. But after we got the documents.
No. Let's just take it one at a time.
Okay.
There was no follow-up as to whether there were outstanding for request for outstanding documentation in all these matters.
Yeah, maybe there was no formal written follow-up. Yes. Yeah, but through communications, I do make follow-up.
I'm more interested in formal communications here, yes, because I cannot see whether any informal communication was actually ever occurred or not. I cannot be here and start to speculate.
Yeah, but between myself and the secretary, we do communicate verbally to make follow-ups.
I agree.
Yes, I do call to find out how are things, what stage are we, whether the documents are available.
But you will agree with me that
I do.
And that would be a very effective business relationship between you and your secretary. Now, if you don't back that up with in writing, you cannot substantiate that. Is that not correct?
No, but the issue is the moment I made the follow-up and the documents are made available, for me it's successful.
Okay, fine. So now, let me ask you something else. You have not written formally to the permanent secretary, so the issues remain outstanding, pending, and therefore, since you haven't had an early or timely response through your informal communication to the PS, you couldn't make an early determination in relation to all these matters.
Yeah, I think what I earlier said is that I cannot remember whether he was written formally or whether it was the secretary who was assigned to make sure that we have all the documented. That I cannot recall.
I am now telling you that never happened. But then
I cannot ascertain that.
No, that's fine. You can now, you are at liberty, you occupy an office. You are at liberty to come with minutes, you are at liberty to come with letters supporting your argument that, well, in fact, letters were being written to. The PS was written to through formal communication. I am telling you that never happened. If it happened, you would have had evidence to that effect. It never happened. So now, did you review the minutes of previous meetings?
Yes, we do.
And when you review those minutes, how do you come about making a determination as to what is outstanding and what is not outstanding?
When we discuss the matters arising,
yes.
From there, we will have feedback of the action points and the action officers.
And that was done in these instances?
I'm sure it must have been done. I cannot recall the exact date of the meeting. But when it happens, it is done.
Now, in December 2022,
yes,
you have an issue to deal with regarding the dismissal of one Pak Khalifa Sanyang, former CEO KMC. When someone is protesting that their dismissal was not in line with the rules or regulation and so on and so forth, there was no fair trial here and there, and you have to make a determination to that effect. Someone's life or career is at stake. You understand? Yes. Do you see this as an urgent matter?
Yeah, of course, it's urgent.
And how do you deal with urgent matters?
Urgent matters should be given urgent attention, but we have a lot of urgent issues, and we were prioritizing the issues because we could not address all the issues at once. This
was, in fact, one of the first matters that you were supposed to deal with, because they were brought to your attention when you took office. So,
yeah, they were brought to our attention. That I agree, but a lot of issues were also brought to our attention.
All your matters are very important.
Yes, so they are all important. That's why we have to prioritize them.
So it was not in the top priority?
It was not on top, not number one.
The dismissal of Pak Khalifa Sanyang or an employee was not a top priority. Now,
it was a priority, but
not a top priority.
We have a lot of top priorities, but even among those top priorities, you have to prioritize them.
I understand. I agree. I am not the chairperson.
Yes.
And I don't know how you prioritize your obligations.
Yes.
I just want to hear it from you. The commissioners are here; they will make a determination.
Yeah,
It's not up to me to tell you that it should have been a top priority or not. So your evidence is being heard by the commissioners, and they will make a determination as to whether, in fact, your mode of operation and how you deal with matters are, in fact, very appropriate in your capacity as a chairperson. So I don't make decisions. Don't worry about that. We'll just hear the evidence from you.
Yes.
You have said that, number one, the dismissal of Pak Khalifa was not a top priority, so therefore you have other top priorities. How about the dismissal of Abdullah Tinyang, former Director of Finance, BCC? It was still pending. Was it a top priority when you took office to deal with this matter or not?
Yeah, it was a priority. All of them were priorities, but the issue is we were finding it difficult to get the supporting documents. So that is one of the reasons for the delay. You see, getting the relevant documentations. Now, and even in that letter, I think that letter was written, but there must have been another letter formally submitting it to the commission. Maybe that letter, the first letter you read, is to notify us we have pending issues.
Yes.
But if I can remember, there was another letter forwarding those things to the commission.
We will.
Maybe I will find out to check that letter.
Yes.
So that you see the date when it was formally.
Yes.
You see, transferred to the commission.
We will be grateful if you have a copy of that letter and you make it available. Aliu Sane as well and Mamudu M.M. Saho. All of these matters were issues in 2022, and perhaps in fact 2021. They were highlighted as issues for your commission to deal with, pending issues. And it took a long time before there was determination. In fact, there is still no determination made about these issues. But then the ones at Brikama has fraudulent complaints highlighted by the Auditor General, as you have outlined by the Auditor. So are they also issues of present concern that need urgent attention?
I'm not saying it was highlighted by the Auditor General.
But by the Auditor?
No, this was a report. I don't know.
Okay, fine.
Can't remember
by
a
report regarding financial misappropriation.
Yes, but that report we received it recently.
You received the report recently from?
Yes. Through the secretary. We got them all because we assigned him to make sure that we have all the required documentation. He normally does the follow-up at the ministry.
How many times have you sat over these 4 issues as a commission?
I think is it 2? Yeah, I said 2 or 3 times. Twice. Yeah, maybe twice.
Twice.
To be on the safe side.
And you assumed office when?
In October.
In October of which year?
2022.
2022?
Yes.
We are in 2023?
Yes.
And you only sat over this issue twice?
Yes, we have issues of getting our tools.
Now,
I think I mentioned that yesterday.
Yes,
yes, and that also was a gap, created a gap. It took a while before we have the required tools that we need for the operational modalities.
What are these tools you are referring to?
These are the legal and policy documents, which I mentioned yesterday.
Legal and
policy documents.
You requested these tools just when you took office?
Yes, during our inaugural meeting, we made mention of these.
Can you be more specific when you say legal?
Like the acts, the Local Government Act.
Yes.
And the
regulation.
And the regulation, and other acts, not only local government. We requested for the Local Government Act, the Local Government Finance and Audit Act, the Labor Act.
So you mean
the regulations?
Yes.
The Local Government Staff Service Regulations and the Local Government Service Commission Regulations, the Finance and Accounting Manual,
yes,
and the Scheme of Service.
So you are saying to the commissioners that when you assumed office,
yes,
you were never given these laws and regulations at the time you assumed office?
No.
When were you given these documents, these laws and regulations?
I can't remember exactly, but they were given in piecemeal.
In piecemeal.
Yes. For the act, we got it 2 weeks back, I think.
So you got the act 2 weeks back.
Yes.
You got the regulation probably at the same time.
No. We got the regulations earlier.
Earlier.
Yes.
And the financial manual.
The finance manual, we got that also earlier.
When you say earlier, you mean as at the time you took office?
No. None was given at the time we took office. So then we raised that concern that these documents must be made available for us to effectively carry out our functions.
So yes. So now when we will discuss, the commissioners will make a determination with respect to the allegations. I may even call it allegation, but the assertion that the ministry, through the office of the PS, did not provide you with the necessary laws and regulations at a very early time to make you execute your functions.
Yes.
So that would be separate. But now, when you were employed because you are deemed to have been qualified in this area. Is that not correct?
Yes.
And so, therefore, you have extensive experience in relation to local government.
Yes.
You've worked in fact, various departments.
Yes.
Up to the level of CEO, am I correct?
Yes.
And as at the time you were CEO, have you had access to the Act?
Yes.
You've had, can you speak through the microphone, please?
Yes.
So you are familiar with how local government works?
Yes.
What were you waiting for then? I can't understand. You still need the Act?
Yeah, I was using my personal copy.
Yes.
You see, but the other commissioners don't have copies.
But at what time?
So if we were to share my copy, it was very inconvenient.
And
but that did not stop us. At least we are doing something. But we were using the copy I had. And I could not have the regulations and the scheme of service. I don't have.
Mr. Jallo, I dare to say that to be honest, I commend you for some of the positive work you've done when you took over. And definitely it appears as if you have made series of efforts to walk through rock and bone in trying to get what you want.
Yes.
But I am not here to be a praise singer. And I am not here to discuss where you have had all correct. I'm not here to discuss where things have gone right. We're here to discuss problems.
Yes.
And identify solutions.
Yes.
And therefore, don't expect any praise singing.
I'm not expecting it.
Thank you very much. So now let's deal with the problems.
Yes.
The problems are, you are an expert in local governance when you were appointed
as
a chairperson.
Yes.
And so when you came over, you had your own copy of the necessary laws and regulations.
Not all.
Not all, but you have.
I have the Act.
You have the Act.
Yes, only the Local Government Act.
You knew there was supposed to be a financial manual because you have worked in this area, CEO.
That's why I requested for that to be provided.
Thank you very much. There was a difference between you and the other commissioners, perhaps, I'm guessing, because you have extensive experience.
Yes.
You hired me as a lawyer, and now you expect that maybe I don't have access. Is this going to be a justifiable reason that I don't have the Constitution of the Gambia when I'm a trained lawyer of how many years experience?
It's different.
It's not different. You are a professional.
It's different.
What is different?
This is the commission. It's not me.
I know.
When it comes to decision making and when it comes to deliberations, we are all equal.
If that is
we all
case,
deliberate. So if I am opportune to have the Act, the other commission members are not opportune to have the Act.
I am now.
So that's an issue. I cannot just prevail on them.
No, we will come to that. There is a distinction between you being a chairperson and the other commissioners.
I know that.
Do you know that?
Yes.
And what is the distinction?
You see, that I'm the head.
And then?
I direct.
Yes.
And organize.
You supervise. You direct, you supervise, you manage.
Yes, the affairs
and
of
because it is deemed that the chairperson of any commission or any institution, the head of an institution, must be someone who has more experience perhaps than the others. Generally, that would be the presumption.
Yeah, in fact, that was the arguments advanced when they were trying to appoint me.
Absolutely, and definitely I will appoint you any day, any time because of your CV. Now, if I am to agree with you, if that when someone appoints you and then they don't give you the necessary tools to work with, and that is your position, and then you feel you can't work because of the necessary tools, then you resign.
No, not necessarily I can't work. We can work, but we cannot work effectively. And to resign for me is not the solution. There is a problem.
Yes.
We were trying, with my experience and expertise, I should try to make sure that we have the right institution, the right instruments to put them in place. I don't come to start having fracas with the ministry or whatsoever.
Yes.
But I will try to make sure that encourage them, talk to them. Maybe I'm more experienced when it comes to local government than most of them. So in that being the case, I have to coach them at some point.
Absolutely.
So that what is required is done. And my main objective of even taking this position is to ensure that we have an independent and proactive, a vibrant local government service commission. Now, when that is done, I'm leaving for good.
Absolutely.
That's my objective. So that is a process. So resigning is not an option. The things will not move.
That is why I am saying that it's either there's a way or you find one. Now you are saying resigning is not an option. We are just, wait a minute.
It's not a better option.
It's not a better option.
Yes.
In fact, I am agreeing with you. If I am in that position, there's a possibility I may resign. But you have the feeling, or you have the determinant to work and make sure that things are being done right. My point now is, with all your extensive experience, you have access to these laws. You know these laws exist, especially the Act, for example. If your position is that resigning is not an option, and therefore, with your experience, you need to help the situation, couldn't you just have resort to other means of solving the problem? One example is you can have photocopied your Act and give it to the other commissioners. That will still make you your job effective. You can photocopy the financial manual. They just cost nothing less than $300-500. So if resigning is not an option, then these are very easy options. Was that a possibility? Was it a possibility to photocopy these documents and then and execute your mandate?
No, at least I need to explain. At times the nature of the question would not require direct response.
Now
So I had at that time only the Local Government Act.
Yes.
And in our operations, we are not relying only on the Local Government Act.
Okay.
The complementary regulations are also instruments guiding our operations.
Right.
They are equally important. So if we have only one document that was at my possession at that time, you see, we share it. I couldn't photocopy that only document. You see, but the other ones, I didn't have them even. I didn't have the manual. I did not have the scheme of service. These are bulky documents. You see, I don't have all those. I only had the Local Government Act, and even the Act I have, I didn't have the amendments.
Now,
you see, that we are done throughout the year. So my Act, even the one I had, was absolute, because a lot of changes were made, and they were not captured in that Act.
Now,
when the Act I have, we have limitations.
That's right. We'll end it there. When commissioners are appointed, and before they assume their responsibilities, do they go through any formal training or induction of any form for the benefit of those who may not have worked in perhaps in the ministry, the government service sector, or any form of management or area council, to actually help them be familiar with the day-to-day runnings of the commission?
Yeah, that was not done.
That was not done.
No, but what we did was to engage the PSC so that we go through them to explain the operational modalities of commission member. I know that it's not enough. It is necessary.
It's necessary.
Yes, to have that induction for commissioners.
Will that be part of your recommendation as at the time you finish your mandate, that there need to be that form of activity?
Yes, of course. We recommend that should be done, and even the commission members, even the council.
No, I don't understand. Have you already made that recommendation, or you plan to make that recommendation?
No, we've discussed it, but we are yet to finalize on it.
You are yet to finalize on it?
Yes.
Now, let's discuss another issue with respect to Basse Area Council.
Okay.
Now, in Basse Area Council, there were reports regarding financial malpractice, regarding the Director of Finance. Are you aware of that?
The recent one.
Yeah, so basically it is in 2022.
2020.
It is involving the Director of Finance. In fact, I have a letter here written to the Permanent Secretary by the Basse Area Council, where it says recommendation from the Establishment Committee, that I write to bring to your attention the recommendations made by the Establishment Committee of Basse Area Council. Please find attached the recommendations and other documents for your perusal and comments. Now, the recommendation involved one Mr. Suso's lack of qualification, his alleged activity involving misappropriation of funds, Are you aware of the situation?
Yeah, this is recent.
Yes.
Yes, not in 2020. Maybe the activity may happen over.
When did you receive the communication?
But this was communicated to us maybe 2 weeks or, yeah, not between 2 to 3 weeks.
So here you have a very serious situation, and it is again being communicated to you just 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
And what is your reaction to that?
2 or 3 weeks. When it was communicated to us, and the report was given to the commission, that very day we were having a meeting, but we had to treat that as AOB.
And what is your...
You see, and we said this was very serious.
Can you please speak louder to the...
Yeah, when we saw it, the report was submitted when we were even having a meeting. But because of the importance attached to the report, we said we have to treat it under AOB. Now, at that point in time, we could not go through all the report to establish all the issues.
Yes.
So we resort to inviting them. We said we need to invite both the CEO and the Director of Finance. Then the very day of the meeting, I think that was the day they were picked up by the security officers, and they were brought to Banjul. They were here. Later they moved to Basse. They were with the investigation team from the police, and I'm not sure whether only police or police and other sister agencies. But they are doing the investigations. And then as a result, we could not get hold of them. Then last week, we met again, and the issue was still on our agenda. When we met, we said since they are not done with the investigators, and there might be some administrative issues that we can do as a commission, then we said it's better for the commission to move to Basse, you see, and try to meet these people, engage them on the report so that we can take a decision. But fortunately, when I went to the permanent secretary so that we can make arrangements to provide us with a vehicle and other logistics so that we can move to Basse. Then the PS told me that, in fact, the CEO is here in Banjul. I think he was supposed to submit some documents to the commission. Then we said, there's an opportunity. Before he goes back, it's better to engage him. Then we invite the Director of Finance too. I think we met them on Friday, if I can recall. It was on Friday when we met both the CEO and the Director of Finance. And we gone through the reports, and we saw there are serious issues, you see, though it was not exhaustive at that moment. But at that time, the commission was with the view that with what we have, I think is enough for at least a preliminary disciplinary measure to be taken. That is at least to interdict both the CEO and the Director of Finance. That is the decision of the commission of our last meeting.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes. Can you kindly avail us the minutes of the meeting and the reports that you have, which allowed you to take some step in addressing the issue? Thank you.
Okay, I think the report is the same report submitted. I think they submitted the same report, the internal audit report.
So you are referring to the...
yes, the internal audit report. That was recently... I thought the report is submitted to the commission. Yes, it's submitted to the commission.
But still, can you avail us a copy, as Madam Chair has directed? If you have a copy in your office, just make sure you avail us with a copy.
No,
yeah, we have one copy. Maybe we have to photocopy, or we request.
Yes.
No, if I may clarify.
Yes.
If the report you are referring to
yes.
is the internal audit that has been admitted here in this commission.
Yes, it's that
from
one.
the Auditor General's office, you don't need to bring a copy of that report again, because we have had opportunity to deal with that report with the staff from the Auditor General's office?
The one we have is the internal audit.
Is the internal audit?
Yes.
Then I don't think we have that report, so we could.
And they told me it was submitted recently.
Well, Council, have you seen that report?
We will check it.
Not the auditor's report from the Auditor General's office.
Oh, the internal audit report.
Yes.
Yes, we have one. But then since he is making reference to a certain document, the evidence is coming from him,
yes,
then it will be more prudent for him to just provide us with a copy.
Very well. Thank you.
So that we cannot just assume whether it's the one we have, the same one that he's making reference to. Do you understand?
Yes, I know it's the same copy, but not that we can photocopy it.
Very well.
Yes, or if you want, I can bring the only copy we have, and you compare. If it is the same, I can go with my copy. Otherwise, it will take resources also to photocopy.
Very well.
You see, and you, as commissioners, we don't control any budget. So if we are to do that, it may even take time. But I can bring the copy. You confirm. If it is the same, then I can go with that copy. If it is not the same, still they'll have to make a copy.
Very well. So now, you have said that there were decisions made in relation to disciplinary matters against Mr. Suso?
Mr. Suso and the CEO.
And the CEO.
Yeah, when we reviewed, we saw issues surrounding both of them.
What were the issues that you saw surrounding both of them?
One issue that affects both of them was there was a withdrawal made, and $100,000 was given to the CEO, and another $100,000 was given to the Director of Finance. And during the internal audit, it was recommended that they both pay back those monies. And the CEO, according to the report, paid back the $100,000, and the bank paying slip is attached to the report. Now, so in that regard, we saw all of them have committed some issues.
So what is the decision that the Commission has taken in relation to the disciplinary matters?
Yeah, as at now, the only disciplinary measure that we can take is administrative.
Not we can take. You see,
when I say we, is the Commission.
No, I'm more concerned about can take. I want to know what has been done or what is.
Yeah, what is done? I think I've said that they are interdicted.
They are already interdicted.
We've recommended that, and the secretary was to communicate with the permanent secretary for them to be written to, and also to work out the replacement.
Now, we will come to the interdiction.
Yes.
Let us look at first the gravity of the allegations.
Yes.
I will read to you, still on the document folio I referred to, yes. A letter addressed to the chairman, Establishment Committee, Basse Upper River Region, March 23rd, 2022. It has come to the notice of the CEO that 2 collectors are found bringing physical cash to the council as opposed to Article 406, and so on and so forth. That is one Mr. Suleiman Ba and Mr. Mohamed Suso. And this probably would be the CEO and the finance director. These individuals are found in the act of suppression of council's revenue. Notably, Mr. Mohamed Suso on the 9th of March 2022 collected 6,000 and another 6,000 on the 14th March 2022. However, these monies were never deposited in the council's account as dictated by the act. Equally, Mr. Suleiman Bah on the 17th March 2022 collected 25,000 and deposited only 20,000 darasis, thereby suppressing the remaining 5,000 in the same engagement. Mr. Suleiman Bah collected 6,500 and failed to deposit it, resulting to the suppression of an amount of 11,500. It is worth noting that this issue has reached the attention of the General Council, which in turn asked the CEO to write to the Establishment Committee to investigate the matter. So these are just one of the financial malpractice allegation against these individuals. Now, again, another letter, in fact, the same letter highlighted as well that the observations with respect to the finance director, that $91,250 was illegally spent by the director. The director of finance unilaterally used council's money without the knowledge of the CEO, who is the accounting officer of the council. The vouchers he brought relating to these funds didn't tally with the total amount. In fact, he will bring vouchers which will not tally with the amount of money in question. So basically, they've highlighted the financial fraudulent allegations against the finance director and these two individuals. Now, what I want to know is you have already arrived at a decision with respect to this matter, and you are saying you have interdicted these two individuals. Now, for the purpose of those who do not know what interdiction is, what does it mean when you say you have interdicted them when they have committed these grave violations?
Yes, interdiction in this sense means they are asked to stay out of office, you see, until the matter is resolved. When the investigation is completed, whether legal or criminal actions will be taken or not, or whether administrative disciplinary measures would be required, that will be determined at the end of the report. So, but the commission was with the view that if these people continue occupying office, they may tamper with the investigations, or some records may be extracted. So to safeguard that, then we said the commission decided to interdict them for the time being.
So how?
And they will be paid half salary.
What is the state of the investigation?
It's done with the police, because the report was equally submitted to the police the same day we received it as the commission. So
as we speak, the police are still investigating this matter?
Yes, they are. And they are, I think Suso is on bail. I'm not sure of the others, but he's on bail.
Very well. Now, were you aware of any recommendation for the termination of services of one Modu Jame?
Of where?
Modu Jame is in folio 50. Now, at Banjul City Council.
Okay.
Now, if I may read the letter for you, it says recommendation for the termination of service of Modu Jame, manager, dump site and overseer of the Old Joswang Cemetery. Please be informed by way of this notice that through the recommendation of the establishment committee, as per agreed, that Modu Jame has been absent for more than a year without permission or notification to the management of Banjul City Council. Therefore, as a result of this absence, his position has been declared vacant and his service is recommended for termination.
No, I'm not aware of that. When was it?
Now, the letter was addressed to you on the 6th, to your office, 6th June 2022. Addressed to the chairman, Local Government Service Commission.
No, I'm yet to receive that letter.
Very well. But the letter, can you advise us when you subsequently come as to whether you have dealt with this matter in any manner or form? How about the recommendation for the position of acting director of finance?
Of where? Which council?
I think it's in Banjul.
Banjul, they have an appointed director of finance.
Okay. Let's see. Very well. We'll come to that. Let's now deal with other important matters. Folio 48. Do you recall the matter of Abdullah M. Nyang?
Yeah, I think we've discussed that earlier.
Concerning, Ablai M. Yang wrote to your office and complaining that his matter is still not being decided over.
Yeah, I think we've discussed that. That was the earlier discussions that we had. He was the former director of finance, BCC.
Yes, so you're saying, is there a conclusion to that effect?
Yes, I think we've concluded on that.
Remind us, is there a conclusion to that effect?
No, actually we've just received the documentations last week, and it's on.
Boy, I'm looking for proper dribble there, boy. You get me, bro. I ain't even playing.
I think you should go check Solomon. They have the best trips right now.